Yeah, it's real. It's real. You don't know that's you it's real. System built the class. Pawns in the game got me caught up with the trash. 1600 years scheming all about the rents. Power in the game got me standing in the trash. It's rigged. Power in the game. Checkmate. No, you can't escape the face. 1600, yeah, got me running from the stage. Breaking from the cage, now they about to feel my rage. Stepping through the circus where the clowns wear the crowns. Marble halls, power calls, and the truth get drowned. 1600 epicenter where they got the scams. Shake your hand, give you a smile, it's another scam. Spitting venom, pins a weapon, dissecting deception. Every election's a selection, rigged by perfection. They pull the levers, move the gears, and make the masses blind. Feed your tears and your fears, keep the trap in line. Secret Service get you whacked, that's a casualty. Oval Office double cross, that's the strategy. Paint the picture, hang it up, yeah, for the sheet. I'm awake, stop the hate, let the real one speak. Let's go. It's rigged. System built to class. Pawns in the game got me caught up in the trap. 1600 heads scheming all about the rents. Power in the game got me standing in the trash. It's rigged. Power in the game. Checkmate. No, you can't escape the fate. 1600, yeah, got me running from the stage. Breaking from the cage, now they about to feel my rage. Back up in the lab, crafting bars like a chemist. Every word I say's a missile, aiming at my minutes. Rewrite the history, spin it like it was a fable. Cut the cable, cut the label, flip the whole damn table. I'ma keep on rapping, scream it all up through the static. While they traffic in the panic, I'ma make it tragic. 1600 where the vultures circle real low. Selling hope, but the rope tied around your throat. Surgical with the word scalpel to the lies. Peeling back the curtain, see the devil.
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, see the devil rigged. Yeah, see the devil is God. It's rigged. System built to class. Pawns in the game got me caught up in the trap. 1600 heads scheming all about the rest. Power in the game got me standing in the trap. It's rigged. Power in the game. Checkmate. No, you can't escape the fate. 1600, yeah, got me running from the stage. Breaking from the king.
Let's get this show started, ladies and gentlemen. We don't got all morning. You know exactly what we're here to do. Yeah, that's me in the background, by the way. That's fine. Somebody has to take the oath. It's me, Big Zeus. All right, Triple H. I'll be back. Let's go, ladies and gentlemen. You don't know about this song. It's like every week I gotta take out the trash. I'm on top of my game, ahead of the class. You can tell that I made it. Look at my grass. I play the game so well, I won't finish last. Sitting in my living room, screaming how we made it. This is how it's supposed to happen when you're rich and famous. Hey, that algorithm turned into a maniac. I guess we going viral cause my Zodiac, hey! I got all these records on my stash sheet. Benjamin Franklin is my bestie. Let's go, ladies and gentlemen, let's do it. Hey, they don't get replies if they text me. Uh-oh. There it goes, ladies and gentlemen, let's do it together. Here's our favorite part. Oh, all right, here's the favorite part. Here we go.
I'll tell you what, I haven't gone into
Zeus haters.
once in a couple of days. That shit was radical.
It's under Biden, though.
It was horrible. I'm like, Zeus has gone way off the rails.
It's like deja vu. It's like deja vu.
That hurts every time. It really does.
It's like deja vu.
It really does hurt every time, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the show. Once again, we are in the Thunderdome. I am your host. I am your pilot. And you know, once again, why we are all gathered here. Once again, we come together to try to to really do the work that it takes to save this great country of ours from the evil clutches of Donald J. Trump and his legion of what's left of them, MAGA demons who are all hell-bent
on destroying this great country of ours. And we do that one show at a time, debunking their lies and their misinformation and their disinformation in real time, so that no one walks away still in the cult unless they are truly, truly, the worst of the worst and the scum of the earth. Now, before we get into that, ladies and gentlemen, because obviously there's so much happening right now in the world of politics, I'm talking about here in the United States. I want to make sure I give everyone a proper introduction, take care of some housekeeping items. Many of you may not have ran into me. This might be your very first time listening to someone like me. I go by the name Zeus, or as some like to say, Triple H, or, the Rizzler, right? The Rizzler. The Rizzler is because, I'm going to get you either way, really. And I'll explain why they call me Triple H. The first H is, well, it's because I'm honest. I'm the most honest person on social media. There's nobody more honest than me, all right? Seriously. The second H is, well, it's because I'm humble, right? And what I mean by being humble it's like, listen, we're all human beings, right? No one's perfect. And so you got to always leave room for yourself to actually get it right. Right, W, Zena, all right? And thank you, Zena. So humility, you got to have humility. Someone said, how did you get that H, the second H, Zeus? And I said, well, it was one story a long time ago on TikTok. I used to get so angry at people. I mean, you crossed me, I'd get on here and I'd yell and I'd huff and puff like the big bad wolf. And someone came to me and they said, you know what your problem is, Zeus? You're great and all, but you need to practice a little humility. And I said, wow, you can't really talk to Big Zeus like that. Then I thought about it, and then I went and did some training, extensive training. And then I came back to that person and I said, listen up, champ. You'll never, ever have to say that to me again, because guess what? It's been bestowed upon me, and now I'm officially the most humble person on social media. And they said, wow, Zeus, you really are. And so I had to say, yeah. That's how I got the second H. The last and the final H, ladies and gentlemen, which we all know is arguably one of the most important H's of them all, is because I am, and Eugene knows it. Eugene knows it. So does Nutty. Everyone knows it. It's because I am and will always remain, you've guessed it, the most handsome. They always get caught off guard the way that I do that. But, I use all three of those H's, ladies and gentlemen, to run arguably the best underrated show on the internet, especially when we're talking about blending in so many amazing things with politics. And so what I do is, and again, I don't take any prisoners, and I just say this, if there's any Trump voters out there, I especially cook up, because Zeus will get you cooked, this content to make sure by the time you get done consuming it, and I call it kibble for MAGA, because MAGA, they don't appreciate the truth, right? By the time you get done consuming this kibble, MAGA, you'll go, you know what? I am so angry at Zeus. And you know what? You'll be super angry and you'll want to cuss me out and say the nastiest, most evil, vile things that you could possibly conjure up with those two brain cells and that one tooth hanging out of your mouth, right? But get this, none of the things MAGA says to me bother me anymore. Yeah, I've been, as some like to say, healed. Yeah. I don't know what happened, but that's where we're at right now in the United States of America. But I promise you, what I say to MAGA, ladies and gentlemen, it'll ruin their breakfast, lunch, dinner, and everything in between. So let me go ahead and get this out of the way, because I don't want any of you reporting my live and ruining it for everyone else. If you are a Trump supporter, never mind, I don't even want to say that. If you are an Epstein supporter, all right, do me a favor. Why do you call us Epstein supporters? Because it's as clear as day right now, ladies and gentlemen. It's as clear as day that Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein were as thick as thieves. So if you support Donald Trump, you're an Epstein supporter. So I'm not, as much as this show is about getting on the Trump support, it's also equally about getting on the Epstein supporters who are this, and there's mathematical proof for it, right? You can go actually look this up. There's a mathematical proof out right now. I looked at it. Epstein supporters equals Trump supporters. So if you don't want your feelings hurt this morning, leave this live right now, because it's going to get very uncomfortable. I promise you it will. But get this, you don't got to take my word for it. Listen to your leader.
If you're not happy here, then you can leave. As far as I'm concerned, if you hate our country, if you're not happy here, you can leave. If you're not happy in the U.S., if you're complaining all the time, very simply, you can leave. You can leave right now. Come back if you want. Don't come back. It's okay too. But if you're not happy, you can leave.
Oh. Oh, y'all got the thunder turned up extraordinary. All right, the doors to the Thunderdome, they've officially closed, ladies and gentlemen, and I take no responsibility for the sparks that might be flying in here. To the mutuals especially, listen, please do not allow MAGA to derail what Big Zeus is doing. I want to really try to stay on topic as much as possible today because I have a strange feeling. Y'all got to get y'all shields, but to the MAGA demons, I'm going to make sure you know what's really going on out here. And I understand what's happening in the United States of America right now. A lot of Trump voters, they're crashing out, or Epstein supporters, they're crashing out right now, and they will do anything. They'll say the most evil, vile things they can to distract from what's really happening in the United States of America right now. They know, everybody that voted for Donald Trump knows right now that Donald Trump is not being honest about his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. And the closer we get to finding out what really was going on between him and Epstein, the crazier these demons get. But I'm a patient person, right? I'm not falling for them. I'm not falling. Zeus, they could call me anything at this point. I understand what I'm dealing with right now. And it might not be for everybody, but I understand what I'm dealing with. We're dealing with people who are having a nervous breakdown. They can't handle this. But I'm going to keep applying pressure because too much pressure makes the pipes burst. And I'm about to make a lot of pipes burst. Call me whatever you want. I'm not going to let it get to me. Now, before I get into the Epstein thing, and I want to remind a lot of you exactly how we got here in terms of where we're at in the United States of America. I firmly believe that the United States of America, there's a bit of a curse going on. It's truly because the folks who've called themselves Christians, they've gone down that forsaken path and began worshiping a man, a human being. They got an idol. And so what ended up happening is those people who supported Donald Trump, they allowed the devil to manipulate them and lie to them and get them to believe that everything that Joe Biden had to deal with going into his term in office, him and Kamala Harris, the devil convinced them all that Joe Biden caused all of that, right? But the reality is very clear. Donald Trump's first term in office, there's a consequence to that, right? His inability to rise to the occasion and be a president for all, and his ability to only be focused on himself. And now we're finding out his relationships to all these corrupt individuals. All of this is what Biden tried to navigate and handle. And instead of us being grateful that we got a chance with Joe Biden and Kamala Harris to try to get this thing back on track, what did the so-called Christians do? They went and got this demon right here and brought him right back so he could turn things up and get us right back where he left us off at the end of C-19. When the country was on its knees, folks were losing their lives, Americans weren't getting anything, and we were so divided as a country. So we're right back in the thick of things with Donald Trump, and it's only been it hasn't even been a year yet. He hasn't even done a solid year. And we're already seeing his base implode on itself for a variety of reasons. And we could talk about Charlie Kirk. We could talk about Candace Owens. We could talk about Nick Fuentes. We could talk about the young Republicans. We could talk about Blaga. But whatever it is, the MAGA cult, ladies and gentlemen, is imploding on itself because they have truly been exposed. W. Zeus. First thing I want to do is get a couple of rounds of the Lake of Fire out of the way. And this is just another friendly reminder about things that are going on in the United States of America right now. First off, Tyson Beef Plant, by far the largest employer in Lexington, Nebraska, plans to lay off 3,200 people when the company closes its facilities on January 20th. And again, you just got to keep in mind, they voted for this.
Because they were heartbroken. They don't want to go anywhere. This is their home.
Yeah.
The Tyson plant gave us notice of a layoff procedure, warm notice, over a week ago. They'll be closing their facility as of January 20th, impacting 3,200 individuals for the community of Lexington. The general mood of the individuals coming in for our services, of course, is anxiety. What do I do next? When will I have a job? Where do I go? And what do I do from here? Tyson workers make up about 3,200 of the population of 11,000 of Lexington. And so they have a great impact upon the culture, schools, and everything that a community is comprised of.
We just hardworking people. What we do is go to work, come to church. That's all we do.
You go to church?
These plants have been underutilized, and we have a shortage of cattle out there.
Shortage of
in
cattle?
the U.S. And because of that,
Fair enough.
Very vulnerable.
Fair vulnerable.
Somebody might
Okay,
shut.
I'm gonna stop it right there. So 32. Nebraska is a red state, and again, I know there's a lot of great people in the state of Nebraska, but again, every choice comes with a what invoice? Every choice comes with an invoice, and this is what I'm saying. The curse is on the United States until MAGA decides to do the right thing and get rid of this individual who's bringing this hell and destruction on us. Ladies and gentlemen, join me in warming up the lake of fire. And it doesn't take long. People say, Zeus, not everybody is in this. There's some people who didn't support Donald Trump. But I say this. We all got to get the whooping until Donald Trump is removed from office. So guess what, ladies and gentlemen? Join me in sending the MAGA demon who's running this country and causing Americans to lose their jobs, right? All over the country. But get this, the border is secure, right? Join me in sending these demons straight to hell. The border is secure. It doesn't take long. Next thing I want to do is focus on our good friend Hunter Biden, ladies and gentlemen, and he brought up something very powerful. He did an interview with somebody that is a pretty well-known Trump supporter, all right, and he says something about the way that Donald Trump responded to Rob Reiner's passing. And listen to what Hunter Biden says, because this is very important.
It's just hard to take.
This is very important.
Put out that True Social thing. And everybody's like, God, it's just hard to taste, and it's beneath the president. And, he basically blaming Rob Reiner's murder and his wife Michelle's murder on the fact that he is of Trump derangement syndrome.
So this is Hunter Biden responding to Donald Trump's post about Rob Reiner. Remember that evil, vile post? And Hunter Biden is expressing and explaining that what Donald Trump did with that post is he gave some of these Trump supporters permission to be evil individuals.
Everybody says, it's just like, as he lost his mind, as he have, dementia and this and that, and he's, and I think he knows exactly what he's doing. What he's doing is this, what he's always done, is he's giving people permission structure. Rob Reiner died violently because he opposed me. And I wish his family well, rest in peace. That's what he's saying. And in so doing, I think what he's basically saying is, you know what? Like, stand in my way, and this is what happens. And so 90% of people, I really believe 90% of people, even the supporters, 90% of the supporter goes like, oh, why did you say that? That's so cruel. 10%, what they hear is he got what he deserved.
There you go.
And
That's Hunter Biden expressing and explaining how I feel. And this is why I say there's a curse on this country. The 10%, I think it's 110% now that I think about it, because I still can't understand why anybody would go and vote for Donald Trump again after they lived through his first term. I've never heard a solid argument from a sane person that could explain how they voted for Donald Trump. There's really only one acceptable answer. Actually two. Either you're evil just like Trump and you want more, or you allowed the devil to manipulate you and trick you into believing that Joe Biden was causing you all the pain and suffering, when you know good and doggone well it was Donald Trump. Joe Biden inherited the mess Donald Trump left behind. And then what does he get for trying to clean it up? Y'all out there mumbling and grumbling. So Hunter Biden is right. Ladies and gentlemen, join me in warming up the lake of fire. And I got to say this because I know this. A lot of these Trump voters on the internet, especially right now, when they see folks suffering, they turn around and say, you know what? You deserve to suffer because you went against dear leader. And to those who do such things, mark my words. When you work iniquity, hell will be your portion. Ladies and gentlemen, join me in sending these demons straight to hell. I don't care. It's easy to do. I'm going through this as much as I can because I got to give everyone a bit of a temperature update of what's going on in America. Here's another friendly reminder, ladies and gentlemen. Just a friendly reminder to those of you in red states. There's a chance you might, depending on what you got going on, you might be in a situation like this fellow American of ours who is saying something's going on with her health insurance and perhaps she might not be able to maintain it. So we're going to get this on the record, and why she's not going to be able to maintain it, her name is Adrian, right, is because of Donald Trump.
I'm pissed off after getting an email last night from Blue Cross that my insurance, my Affordable Care Act insurance for my family of 3 is going from $600. They're just going to go ahead and draft the new price, which is $2,400 out of my account on December 31st. And the fuck they're not. I had to cancel my fucking health insurance.
Yeah.
Which my family is a family that has high cost medical needs.
Yeah.
So that's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah. So as Donald Trump continues to run around and brag that he's bringing in trillions and trillions of dollars, Americans all over this country are struggling and having to deal with the reality that some of them may no longer have access to health care and health insurance. And then they wonder why you got a bunch of crazy white guys running around here just literally having nervous breakdowns and snapping and resorting to violence to get treatment. It's because look at what Donald Trump is doing. At least that's part of it. The other part is obviously they're wicked and evil. All right. So what I'm going to do is this, ladies and gentlemen. It's clear we're in a worse country. We're a lot less of a safer country since Donald Trump, Cash Patel, Pam Bondi, the list goes on. Whiskey Leaks Pete all got into office. It's literally, we are the laughing stock of the nation. A lot of people are suffering in the United States of America, and it's truly because of Donald Trump, right? And all Donald Trump has to do, it's the same trick. He goes and gets a hat, pulls a rabbit out of the hat. What do you mean, Zeus? He just comes and tells him, the reason you can't afford health insurance, the reason your grocery prices are high, the reason your rent and your utility bills are high is because of Joe Biden. And then boom, every single one of them snaps out of the yeah, he's right, it's Joe Biden and the Democrats while he's robbing them blind. Ladies and gentlemen, it doesn't take long. Join me in warming up the lake of fire once again. For all you Trump supporters that continue to allow yourselves to be vassals of transgression, what are you going to do? What is it going to take for you to wake up and come to and actually get out of this nasty situation you've gotten yourselves in? Donald Trump said it about you.
You're either stupid or you hate the country.
Join me in sending these demons straight to hell. I could care less. I'm going through it. Yeah.
Silence, you MAGA demon.
W Zeus, ladies and gentlemen. I got more. Now, the funny thing about so far is this. All I've been doing is updating you on what's going on in the United States of America, ladies and gentlemen. Has any of the information that I've shared out thus far been a lie? Has any of the information that I've shared out thus far, ladies and gentlemen, been a lie? I'm asking seriously, because I understand I got a bunch of Zeus haters out there. No, exactly. W to all of you. And whose fault is it? Whose fault is it, ladies and gentlemen? W Gucci. Whose fault is it, ladies and gentlemen? I'm double checking. I'm double checking MAGA. Thank you. All right, now I got more bad news, MAGA, because this is what's happening. Bourbon maker Jim Beam is halting production at one of its distilleries in Kentucky, another red state.
Bourbon maker Jim Beam is pausing production at its main distillery in Kentucky for all of next year. Production will continue at its other sites. The alcohol industry has been feeling the impact of President Trump's tariffs. Kentucky is sitting on 16 million aging barrels. The annual tax bill, $75 million.
I ain't even gonna be able to get a little swig in your system to try to cope with what's happening now. Look at what Donald Trump's done. He wants you to really feel everything that he's doing. Put that bottle down, you drunkard, you sluggard, you knuckle draggers. No more. He's cutting it off. And guess what? As long as he tells you Joe Biden did it, you shouldn't be complaining, right? So yeah, and this is what they voted for. Look at them. Look at them. No health insurance. You can't even get a little swig because a lot of people, when they don't have health insurance, you know what they do? They resort to the swig. You know, get a little shake it up, put it a little on a little moon shake. That's their little way of self-medicating. You can't even do that. And y'all think this man really loves you. I tell you, a hard head makes for a soft behind. And that's why I personally take great pride and great honor in just sending the worst, because the most dangerous thing in the United States of America, ladies and gentlemen, honestly, it is an uninformed, poorly educated, two brain cell having, one tooth hanging out of their mouth, trailer park living, knuckle dragging individual who is thinking more highly of themselves than they ought to. How did you learn all these things about Joe Biden? I did my own research. You know, that's how they talk. I did my own research. Okay. So you've written a thesis before? You actually know how to go and look at verified sources? You know what I'm talking about? You know how to write in the MLA format and all these things with your research behind? No, I just listened to a little bit of that Fox News and Sean Hannity. Okay. So you let Sean Hannity destroy your life. Y'all got to be some of the most sickest people on the planet. Ladies and gentlemen, join me in warming up the lake of fire once again. It's I hate to, but I really need to. Join me in sending these demons once again straight to hell. I got another horrible story. I know I'm getting to the Epstein stuff. I got to get to the Epstein stuff, but I got to make sure I stay on track with the content because I do recognize sometimes I get a little carried away. So I want to make sure we just don't dwell on one topic and we try to get as many in here as we can. All right. I promise you we'll talk about Jeffrey Epstein because trust me, that's a doozy. That's going to be a heavy. Hey, Doozy, I know a person named Doozy and she voted for Trump. Doozy, are you here? DJ, are you here? Dame, are you here? Any Trump voters out here? Is there anyone out there that still supports Epstein? Is there anyone out there that still supports Jeffrey Epstein? Just place a 1 in the chat if you're an Epstein supporter. Epstein and Larry Nassar, yeah. All right, because I want to make sure I deliver the product that I've been cooking up for you, all right? And you're gonna be the ones that help me to know if I'm delivering just well. One last thing before we get on to Epstein, ladies and gentlemen, and this has to do with have you heard the news? FedEx, all right. This is you heard about this? I'm just gonna read this to you, and this is just another slap in the face to Donald Trump and his supporter. FedEx wins $2.2 billion federal contract, then hires hundreds of H-1B visa workers while laying off Americans. All right, you can't make this up.
B visa people. They're still outsourcing the jobs to the H-1B visa people. Mm-hmm. FedEx. Isn't the FedEx CEO Indian? I think he may be.
Oh.
They just signed a contract with the Department of Defense to deliver packages. And in doing that, fired 800 people in a facility here in Texas, took those jobs. They're $100,000 to $125,000 a year jobs. Wow. Good paying jobs. If you and I go look for these jobs, we're not going to see them because they're going on foreign job boards. Yes, there's still a $100,000 fee for anybody to apply for an H-1B visa, but they're already here. They have corporations that find people jobs that are just full of H-1B visas. In this case, it's Infosi. Infosi will take these $100,000 and $125,000 jobs and pay their people like $60,000. Keep the rest. Doesn't have to worry about paying all those fees to bring them here because they are already here.
Oh.
And then they pay them pennies on the dollar to do things like code, and they give Americans pink slips. It's an uphill battle for us.
So much for America first. When you Trump supporters are going to wake up? I don't even think a lot of you will wake up. All right. And so It's just another sign that he's not delivering on any of his promises. And if you ever decide to stand up to Donald Trump, MAGA, I want you to always remember you can end up like Marjorie Trader Brown. You remember Marjorie Trader Brown? Remember Marjorie Trader Brown? You remember this? Remember when Marjorie was doing all of this stuff, ladies and gentlemen? Let me see if I can get it. Remember when Marjorie was saying this? It was so funny when I heard it. I was listening to it. Here it goes.
If we have a sea of people,
Remember
if we shut down the streets, if we shut down everything, if we flood the Capitol building,
Remember this?
flood all the government buildings, go inside. These are public buildings. We own them.
Remember?
We own these buildings.
Remember?
Do you understand that? We own the buildings and we pay all the people that work in the buildings.
That's Marjorie Trader Brown. Let that be a lesson to every single one of you demons out there, that if you ever decide to try and take daddy's Cheetos out of your mouth, you too will be a traitor. So that's why I got to do it for you. Ladies and gentlemen, join me in warming up this lake of fire once again. This goes out to all the Trump voters out there that know that they've gotten themselves in a nasty situation and they can't get out. I don't want you to get out. Honestly, stay in the cult. I'm not here to try to get you out of the cult anymore. That train has passed. I'm here to make sure you do 4 solid quarters of Donald Trump, because by the time that happens, we know what's going to happen. Join me in sending these demons straight to hell.
Silence, you MAGA demon.
All right, now it's time to get onto the Epstein files. And it's time to do it, ladies and gentlemen, because, you know, this Epstein situation is honestly, it's turning into a soap opera. We all know how this soap opera is going to end, don't we? And so what I'll do is let's go ahead and get things started.
Like sands through the hourglass, so are the days of our lives. This is MacDonald Carey, and these are the days of our lives.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, there you go. All right, there you go. So we know what's about to happen with Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein, ladies and gentlemen. And then we woke up to some terrible news going on in the cult.
One of the great mysteries to me and a lot of other people is, we've had reporting for some time, Donald Trump is not on Epstein's list. There's nothing in there that's really damning about Donald Trump, and as Susie Wild says, not damning about Donald Trump
According to the chief.
or Bill Clinton. So one of the great mysteries all along in this, not been like, what's Donald Trump hiding? What did he do? It's like, why, if he's not in these files, which all the reporting says he's not, why is he so obsessed on blocking access to the files? Is he trying to protect somebody? Joe, you got to the actual heart of the question, and it's actually not been reported. One of the reasons Marjorie Taylor Greene got on board with Massey and my effort is she fundamentally believed that Trump was not implicated, and she would call the president and say, look, just get these out. I don't know why you're not getting it out. And she would tell Massey and me, of course he's going to come around. And every press conference we had, we never made it about Donald Trump. We made it about the survivors. The survivors pleaded with Donald Trump. You can be a hero. No previous president has done this. Release the files. And what people are asking, and frankly, even I'm asking, is what are they hiding? Why is it that they're not releasing the draft 60-count indictment when they only charged Epstein with 2 counts? Why aren't they releasing the 82-page prosecution memo of all the implications he had with rich and powerful folks? Why are they protecting this Epstein class? And why aren't they releasing the FBI interviews? Every time they do one of these things of concealing, they're just ripping further down.
Boom. So if you haven't been following it, the DOJ, ladies and gentlemen, I believe they have released, some files, ladies and gentlemen, and in those files, there's been some pretty damning evidence. And I hate to use such strong words. And I'll just read some of the things that we ended up finding out. For instance, we found out that Donald Trump was on Epstein's plane way more than he ever told us. And I'll read it to you. Wednesday. It's called Epstein Flight Records, and it's a communication between the Department of Justice, Southern District of New York Assistant U.S. Attorney, Wednesday, 8th of January of 2020. For your situational awareness, wanted to let you know that the flight records we received yesterday reflect that Donald Trump traveled on Epstein's private jet many more times than previously reported it, or what we were aware. This is coming from the FBI, including during the period we would expect to charge in Maxwell case. In particular, he is listed as a passenger on at least 8 flights between 1993 and 1996, including at least 4 flights on which Maxwell was also present. He is listed as having traveled with, among others, in various times, Marla Maples, his daughter, Tiffany, and his son, Eric. On one flight in 1993, DJ, are you here? I want to read this to you. On one flight in 1993, he and Epstein are the only 2 listed passengers. On another, the only 3 passengers are Epstein, Trump, and then a 20-year-old. They redacted their name. On 2 other flights, 2 of the passengers, respectively, were women who would be possible witnesses in the Maxwell case. We just finished reviewing the full records, more than 100 pages. Never seen numbers like this. A very small script, and didn't want any of this to be a surprise down the road. You see, MAGA? This is what I said yesterday. Remember when I said you don't want the Democrats really focused and meditating on your behind? Because if the Democrats get involved with stuff, trust me, we hold ourselves to such a high standard within the Democrat Party. It's really difficult to even get us to unite on something. But this is something everybody's united on. You saw how it passed through the House and Congress. We're looking into this matter, and none of us for a second, I never ever thought for a second Donald Trump, I personally never thought Donald Trump wasn't in the files. Now, y'all did. Y'all thought Donald Trump was not in the files, which is why y'all went so guns ablazing about this. I never for once, because anybody that has a friend they've known for 15 doggone years, you know what your friend's up to. All right. And if they were up to something very disgusting, your communications and your references to them would never have ever aligned with the way that Donald Trump said that they aligned.
Scott, good morning. Hey, Vlad, good morning. A CBS News team of journalists are still combing through more than 10,000 files just made public a few hours ago.
10,000?
And these latest materials offer some new details on Jeffrey Epstein's associates, including, among other people, President Donald Trump. At this hour, the newest release appears to include court records, emails, news clippings, photos, spreadsheets, audio, and hundreds of video files. One revealing Department of Justice email says Trump flew on Epstein's plane many more times than had previously known. According to the email, Trump is listed as a passenger on at least 8 flights between 1993 and 1996, including at least 4 that co-conspirator Ghislaine Maxwell was on board. The email also notes Trump flew on 2 occasions with women described as possible witnesses in a potential Maxwell case. In a likely already public criminal case filed in 2020 by a Jane Doe against the estate of Jeffrey Epstein, the plaintiff alleges that when she was 14, Epstein introduced her to Trump at Mar-a-Lago.
She was 14. Y'all still haven't. Y'all, what is a 14 being introduced to a billionaire for? See how MAGA gets radio silent? And this, you can't say, why didn't Joe Biden release this? It would have destroyed him. You can't say that, because I'll destroy that narrative real quick. Joe Biden was trying to give you the clues that Donald Trump was a criminal. Why you think he got indicted so many times? We was on the verge of getting to this. But y'all wouldn't have believed it, because you would have simply said Joe Biden is just trying to weaponize the DOJ to go get your dear leader. You wouldn't have believed it. So what, and this is how you know, the Lord, because the good book says, God works in mysterious ways or something like that. What better way to force MAGA to eat crow than to have the Epstein files come out while their dear leader is in office? That's the best. That's how we gonna make y'all understand that y'all in the wrong and you are on the wrong side of history. This is between Donald Trump and you now, MAGA. What you gonna do? Because you can't get out here. You can't get out here. You can't get out here and convince me that you protect children. Who you really trying to convince at this point? Because you're not trying. You're just wasting oxygen as far as I'm concerned, trying to convince me you care about protecting children. What on earth is any grown billionaire doing meeting with a random 14-year-old? What planet does that make sense on? I don't care if she's selling Girl Scout cookies. You don't need to be alone with her. You and Jeffrey Epstein too? Who? What y'all doing? Oh, just reading the Bible together, drinking tea. You think I'm that crazy? You think I believe that nonsense? And the sad part is your pastors, a lot of y'all went to church and had your pastors tell y'all to vote for Donald Trump. Think about that. I'll tell you one thing. If I ever found myself in a church where a pastor had suggested I vote for this demon right here, I'm done with that church, because I already know right now, if you got that wrong, you're going to get it a lot more wrong, and my soul is on the line. W. Zeus. All right, ladies and gentlemen, W. Zeus. Let Hunter Biden weigh in on what he believes is going on with the Epstein files.
What do you think that was?
What do I think that was?
What do you think this whole Epstein?
This is Hunter Biden. Remember y'all stole Hunter Biden's data and put it on a laptop and tried to come up with a scam? Remember how y'all did that? Well, Hunter Biden's back, and he has something to say about your dear leader.
Do you think this was a...
I don't even fucking know at this point, and I really mean it. It's like, I will tell you, is that the only thing that is clear to me is this. Jeffrey Epstein and Donald Trump, during a period of his life, were fucking thick as thieves.
Yeah.
And Donald Trump has tried to pass this off as being what Palm Beach was in the 90s. Okay? And that may be his view of it. But I've seen enough evidence of Donald Trump and his team modeling agencies and what he said on Howard Stern about how he would go into the back of these, Miss Teen USA pageants and, walk up to the girls naked. They're talking about girls when he's talking about doing that. And wonder whether or not Donald Trump in his mind has come up with this concoction that it was all just what they did in the 90s. It was models. I mean, that's what Michael Wolff says. Michael Wolff says that the justification in Trump's mind is that they were models.
That's how an evil mind works. When they're doing wrong, you have to program yourself that it's not wrong. And the way that Donald Trump seems to have convinced himself that his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein was all to the good was, you don't got to classify them as girls. Just call them models. Because when you call them models, you don't got to respect them. You see how the devil gets you and tricks you into doing things that you know are wrong? See, when you even have to take that kind of a leap in your mind, that's when you know you are wrong. When you find yourself mentally tricking yourselves into doing something, that's a red flag. But Donald Trump chose to ignore it. And he kept going. And y'all went and voted for this.
Wow. You're 14, 15 years old. I mean, we have a president that has been credibly accused by well over a dozen and a half women, if not more, of sexual assault. And we're wondering whether or not, as he fights tooth and nail for the Epstein files that all of his supporters demanded be released so that they could nail Bill Clinton to a cross. And he won't release him. Why? Out of the kindness of his heart for the people that may get hurt? Have you ever known the president to act out of anything but his own self-interest?
And this is Hunter Biden talking to Sean Ryans, a Trump supporter. Even he has to come to a conclusion none of this makes sense. Because if you start excusing what Donald Trump is doing, you're telling on yourselves. It's an open and shut case at this point, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, and we just got so much evidence. There's another, because the information came out yesterday. And the DOJ is slowly releasing information. And this one's even more alarming. Hey, DJ, I hope you're listening. And again, for those of you who are allowing the devil to trick you into thinking that this is all a hit job, a political hit job, ask yourself, how do we get so many different random people saying different things that somehow are all tied to the same person? These are people who never ever met each other, all just writing things at different periods of time throughout the year. And just coincidentally, Donald Trump seems to be in the center of it. How does that happen? What are the odds of that? You might as well go play the Powerball. These people are sick. So let me read this. A Dallas limo driver said he wanted to pull over and beat the SHIT out of Donald Trump because of the sick things he was saying on the phone. And a girl in Dallas said Epstein and Trump raped her in a hotel. She was later found unalive with her head blown off. This came out of the This came out from the DOJ. Blank asked Blank about the time driving in a limousine for 2 years in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. During Blank's time as a driver, he had met Donald Trump. Blank noted he picked the president up in 1995 and took him to the DFW airport. Blank reported some of the things President Trump had spoken about during the ride while on his cell phone were very concerning. Blank reported he was, quote, a few seconds from pulling the limousine over on the median and within a few seconds of pulling him out of the car and hurting him due to some of the things he was saying. As caller chose not to, Blank noted Trump continuously stated the name Jeffrey while on the phone and made references to abusing some girls. Blank was unsure who he was talking to nor who he was referencing. As Blank talked about his time meeting Donald Trump, Blank demeanor went stone cold. As Blank stated, he raped me. Blank said, what? As Blank replied, quote, Donald J. Trump had raped her along with Jeffrey Epstein, end quote. Blank noted some girl with a funny name, quote, took me into a fancy hotel or building. That's how it happened, end quote. Blank advised Blank to call the police regarding the incident as Blank stated, quote, I can't. They will unalive me, end quote. On Christmas Day, Blank contacted Blank, stated she had in fact called the police about what they had talked about. Blank told Blank she had, quote, done good, end quote. Blank did not hear from Blank or Blank until January 10th, 2000. Blank reached out to Blank stating Blank was no longer alive and noted she was found with her head, quote, blown off, end quote, in Kiefer. Okay, officers on the scene and Blank stated that there's no way it was a suicide. Coroner stated it was a suicide. Blank later stated Blank committed suicide because Blank had gotten some rugs from the cartel. Blank feels the unaliving is a cover for Ghislaine. You got Katie Johnson. You got E. Jean Carroll. 26 other women.
If Ivanka weren't my daughter, perhaps I'd be dating her. You know.
What's the favorite thing you have in common with your father?
Either real estate or golf.
Donald, with your daughter?
Well, I was going to say sex, but I can't relate that. I can't.
This is all Donald Trump, MAGA. There's another thing that came out, MAGA. Breaking from newly released Epstein files. A letter allegedly from Epstein to convicted trafficker Larry Nassar in prison around the time that Epstein unalived himself. quote, our president shares our love of young, nubile girls. This is Epstein writing this stuff. To Larry Nassar. And I guess what? I know there's a lot of things that these Trump supporters, they're struggling to process this right now because you wanted it to be Bill Clinton so bad. You want this to be a Democrat so bad. But it's not. It's you. It's you, MAGA. And you're going to keep making excuses for your dear leader. And don't worry, judgment is up on us. I'm going to do the judging. I'm going to send evil where it belongs, ladies and gentlemen. But I got to keep getting through some of the most difficult stuff that we've had to go through as a country. And this is why I say the fact that we're having to have this kind of dialogue in the United States of America about the sitting president, it's a huge red flag. It's proof that he shouldn't be in the White House because the moment he leaves, we can move forward as a nation. But we can't move forward because I know there's still some demons out there that are saying, I don't believe you, Zeus. I'm still holding out for daddy. And so we're going to continue to do this until too much pressure makes the pipes burst. Yesterday, Donald Trump had a moment where he had the chance to come clean to the American people about his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. And he chose to waste valuable airtime talking about nothing, absolutely nothing, anything he could do to try to distract us. But there was a brave voice out there, a reporter, who did question Donald Trump about Bill Clinton being in the Epstein files and those photos. And once again, Donald Trump failed. He failed to set the record straight with the American people and to ratchet up the intense pressure that all of us are going to continue to place on the Trump administration until we get to the bottom of what Donald J. Trump and Jeffrey Epstein really did. I already know. I know. I don't need to see anything else. I don't need to hear anything else. But we're going to get to the bottom. So listen to Donald Trump, ladies and gentlemen. This is called dereliction of duty, if you ask me.
Respected bankers and lawyers, either friendly or not friendly. I like Bill Clinton.
Here you go.
So you had a different kind of a president. I hope people are enjoying it because we've never been respected more than we are now.
MAGA.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President. Were you surprised by the number of photos of Bill Clinton in the Epstein files? And can you commit to their full... And were you surprised by the number of photos of Bill Clinton in the Epstein files? And can you commit to their full release by the end of the year? Some of the victims were protesting that too many of them were redacted.
I know there are a lot of people that are angry about all of the pictures of other people, but I think it's terrible. Look, I like Bill Clinton. I've always gotten along with Bill Clinton.
He's always gotten along with Bill Clinton. And Bill Clinton called his bluff yesterday. Bill Clinton said, Trump, this isn't everything. Go ahead, release it all. Because I can understand where Bill Clinton is at with this. Okay, fine. If I'm going out, bro, you got to go too. We're about to find out who's really the dirty dog in this entire equation, Trump. Okay, I've seen the photos of Bill Clinton in the hot tub. Very, very concerning. Very concerning. And if there's crimes, go and get them. I don't care. But Donald Trump, please. Do as Bill said, since you and him get along very well, and release all of the doggone files. And MAGA, I don't want to hear you crying about Bill Clinton anymore because Donald Trump just told you to stop doing it. He said him and Bill Clinton get along.
He's been nice to me. We've always gotten along. Respect him. I hate to see photos come out of him, but he'd
hate to see photos of Bill Clinton, photos coming out about Bill Clinton, MAGA. So zip it.
What the Democrats, mostly Democrats, and a couple of bad Republicans are asking for. So they give me their photos of me too. Everybody was friendly with this guy.
Everybody,
either friendly or not friendly, but he was around. He was all over Palm Beach and other places. The head of Harvard was his best friend, Larry Summers, and Bill Clinton was a friend of his. But everybody was. I actually threw him out of Mar-a-Lago, and as a person that was in Mar-a-Lago, I threw him out. This is Mar-a-Lago. It's the hottest place I think it's the hottest place in the world, but it's...
Isn't it interesting? He says Mar-a-Lago is the hottest place in the world, and he always talks about how America's the hottest. I mean, the word "hot" right now it's why I send MAGA straight to the lake of fire, because it's hot there too. It's demonic work. He's basically saying wherever it's hot, yeah, that's where the crime's at. I get it.
Hottest place in Florida, and everybody would come here. He'd come here. We actually threw him out. But no, I don't like the pictures of Bill Clinton being shown. I don't like the pictures of other people being shown. I think it's a terrible thing. I think Bill Clinton's a big boy. He can handle it. But
you catch that? And when he said Bill Clinton is a big boy, he can handle it. It reminded me of this photo. Y'all remember this photo? Y'all remember this photo? Yeah, I remember this photo. Yeah. It really does make me wonder, ladies and gentlemen. It really does. Where is it at?
I choose to believe that Donald Trump sucked Bill Clinton's dick. So I choose to believe that. So you guys can say whatever you want to say.
Donald sucking Bubba's dick, slurping nut like his mother, going guap, guap, guap on his Arkansas brother, playing that shit like a saxophone. Presidential topic while they all alone. Don't give a fuck about Hillary. Donald Trump blow it up like a Wall 3. Trump sucks Bill dick, got his big old belly thick, front of come, clean tongue.
And I choose to believe that Donald Trump sucked Bill Clinton's dick.
What do you mean he's a big boy?
you probably have pictures being exposed of other people that innocently met Jeffrey Epstein years ago, many years ago, and they're, highly respected bankers and lawyers and others, and they'll end up, because of guys like Massey, who's a real lowlife, whose polls are down to about 9%, by the way, in the great state of Kentucky. If you look at Kentucky, Kentucky is such a great place, but I don't know, they've got a couple of people in there that are very strange in terms of leadership, but Massey's a loser, and he likes it, and that he works with the Democrats. He's just being used by the Democrats, because what this whole thing is with Epstein is a way of trying to deflect from the tremendous success that the Republican Party has. Like, for instance, today we're building the biggest ships in the world, most powerful ships in the world, and they're asking me questions about Jeffrey Epstein. I thought that was finished. I believe they gave over...
He said he thought that was finished. Does anyone want to hear about all the success the Republicans have had this year? Does anyone think that the Republican Party, who's Mike Johnson, MAGA Mike Grinder Johnson, who keep, they keep crashing Grinder. I guess that's success to them when they crash Grinder, right? Does anyone on the face of the planet believe the Republican Party of 2025 has truly been successful? No one does. But that's where his mind wants to take you, because he knows he knows his goose is as good as cooked, ladies and gentlemen. And so, there's a little bit more. Actually, I'll do it. I'll let Lawrence O'Donnell sign us off, ladies and gentlemen, real quickly, and then we'll go straight to judgment. All right. W's in the chat for all of you who kept the show going and keeping the engagement up. Seriously, let Lawrence O'Donnell close us out a little bit with some perspective about what we just endured, and then we'll go straight to judgment.
Well, of course they are bad at the cover-up. Donald Trump doesn't have to worry about how well a cover-up of the Epstein files is executed by his Justice Department, because the United States Supreme Court has made Donald Trump the very first president in history to have immunity from criminal prosecution for anything he does as president of the United States. Because the Supreme Court knew that presidential immunity did not exist in the Constitution when Richard Nixon was president, Republican Richard Nixon knew that he could face criminal prosecution for his cover-up of the Watergate burglary and other crimes that he committed while he was president, and that's why he got a pardon from President Gerald Ford after his vice president Gerald Ford became president, after Richard Nixon resigned from the presidency. Richard Nixon knew he needed that pardon. Everyone working for Donald Trump knows that they do not have the same immunity that the Supreme Court gave to Donald Trump, and everyone working for Donald Trump should know that Richard Nixon's White House chief of staff, his White House counsel, his attorney general, and dozens of other people working for Richard Nixon were convicted of crimes and sent to prison. And so If you are Donald Trump's criminal defense lawyer, Todd Bland, and if you are now managing a cover-up of the Epstein files in your position as the Trump Deputy Attorney General, you know that only Donald Trump can grant you immunity from prosecution for anything you do as Deputy Attorney General. Donald Trump can do that by issuing a blanket pardon to everyone working for him that would, in effect, give them the same immunity Donald Trump already knows that he has. And so Donald Trump's Attorney General and Donald Trump's Deputy Attorney General are blissfully violating federal law tonight, as they have been every night since Friday, by refusing to release all of the Epstein files. They know Donald Trump can pardon them for any federal crime they might commit. When asked about the Epstein files today, Donald Trump said, "They are asking me questions about Jeffrey Epstein. I thought that was finished." Those were his exact words. If Donald Trump really thought that was finished, that would be more public evidence of Donald Trump's neurological decline. But it seems that it was really just a standard Trump lie, just like the other lie Donald Trump told about Jeffrey Epstein today. Donald Trump said, quote, "Everybody was friendly with this guy." That is a lie. Most rich people in New York had nothing to do with Jeffrey Epstein back when Donald Trump was publicly calling Jeffrey Epstein a terrific guy.
Now my wife is standing.
So this is Howard Lutnick, or some say a lot nastier. He's confirming what everybody already knows a person should do if they ever interact with a person like Jeffrey Epstein. This is the appropriate response.
So she looks at me and I look at her and we say, "I'm sorry, we have to go." And we left. And in the 6 or 8 steps it takes to get from his house to my house, my wife and I decided that I will never be in the room with that disgusting person ever again. So I was never in the room with him socially, for business, or even philanthropy. That guy was there. I wasn't going because he's gross.
He lived next door to Jeffrey Epstein, would have nothing to do with him. Donald Trump's incompetent and clownish Secretary of Commerce lived next door to Jeffrey Epstein, and he refused to have anything to do with Jeffrey Epstein. So no, everybody was not friendly with that guy. Donald Trump was very friendly with that guy.
Get him, Lawrence.
And at the height of Jeffrey Epstein's sexual abuse of children and sex trafficking, Donald Trump said in 2002, "I've known Jeff for 15 years, terrific guy. He's a lot of fun to be with. It has even said that he likes beautiful women as much as I do, and many of them are on the younger side."
Ooh, guilty.
The younger side. How many 48-year-old men do you know who invite 14-year-old girls to their parties?
That's the question right there. That's the question. How many 48-year-old men, MAGA, do you know that invite 14-year-old girls to their parties? Lawrence got you. Marsha, I'm not even trying to get Trump. Marsha, see, you think I'm trying everything? I haven't even started to try to get Donald Trump. All I'm doing, Marsha, is sharing information that's out there. And I'm hoping you could come to a reasonable understanding. But I can see right now, this is very painful. Is it painful, Marsha, for you to hear this is what your dear leader did? Are you okay with this, Marsha? Seriously. Marsha, are you okay with Trump's conduct? Marsha, no, because I want to ask, Marsha, are you okay with her? Are you okay with Trump's conduct, Marsha? Because I don't got to do anything. Oh, you want to come up here and tell that story, Marsha? Send me a guest request. Come on up here. I'll hear you out.
Jeffrey Epstein did that. And so did the 48-year-old Donald Trump. The New York Times reports that Donald Trump held parties at his home in Florida where he invited 14-year-old girls. Tina Davis, who worked with Ford models in the mid-1990s, said in an interview that her Ford booker instructed her to get dressed up and attend a Mar-a-Lago party in late 1994. Just 14 and new to Miami, she was told to dress sexy, according to her mother, Sandra Coleman, who had accompanied her to Florida. 8 or 9 other models came along on the bus, All the girls were really young, Ms. Coleman recalled in an interview. Some of them could have been in training bras. When they arrived at Mar-a-Lago, Ms. Coleman said her daughter was promptly handed a glass of champagne. She took it away, but waiters kept offering more. Each time one of the middle-aged men at the party approached her daughter, Ms. Coleman would walk over and introduce herself as Ms. Davis's mother. During a trip to the bathroom, they ran into Mr. Trump's new wife, whom they had met earlier. Marla Maples clasped her hands, Ms. Coleman recalled, and looked her in the eye. Whatever you do, do not let her around any of these men, and especially my husband, she told Ms. Coleman. Protect her. 14 years old, invited to Donald Trump's home, handed champagne repeatedly. Unlike her former husband, Donald Trump, Marla Maples, Donald Trump's second wife, responded to New York Times inquiries about that story. The New York Times reports Ms. Maples denied making the comment, "I would always protect young women in any way I could," she said, "but I am sure I didn't specifically say."
Now I can do judgment. Now I can do judgment. And I got to open up the boxes and have conversations. Ladies and gentlemen, like I said yesterday, what does MAGA represent? They truly represent the worst of the worst and the scum of the earth. You would have thought back in the day being a misogynist and a racist was evil and unacceptable. MAGA pushed the line, and they also decided to escalate it and become traitors to the country because they did what they did on January 6th. And now, in 2025, MAGA is also, in addition to the things I just listed, the party of P3DO protectors. And they call themselves Christians. I want nothing to do with this. And it's an embarrassment. It's a stain on the American country. And it's necessary that I do this. Ladies and gentlemen, join me one more time and sending these so-called Christians that are out here harming children where they belong with a pressure cooker top. Join me in sending these demons once again straight to hell.
Silence, you MAGA demon.
I want to try and get to heaven if possible. I'm hearing I'm not doing well.
Silence, you MAGA demon.
And stay there. Don't get out. I don't want to hear another word from you, you evil, sick individuals. All right, and that's a huge W, Zeus. That's a huge W, Zeus. All right, ladies and gentlemen, well, that concludes my monologue, and now I'll take questions and listen to what all of the amazing people in the country have to say. I really don't expect to hear from MAGA this morning because it's at a point now where if they can't even admit what we've all talked about and just went through together, it just tells you everything you need to know about these people. These are some of the sickest, most evil individuals on the face of the earth. Oh yeah, they reported the gifting, ladies and gentlemen, but you know what? We've been through that before. Ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're up here to apologize.
Zeus.
Because it's you know what? I gotta say this. I haven't actually seen you on my show in months. And then the one time you show up, it's because this information about your dear leader is out. Are you here to apologize?
You're putting out information that can't be corroborated.
So you're not here to apologize? You're not here. Okay.
Let me ask you a question. You ready? You ready for this question? Have you ever in your life looked at women in porn? Yes or no?
You see what he's doing?
No. Answer the question. Have you ever looked at women in porn? It's a yes or no question.
I got it. Okay. And so, ladies and gentlemen, has anyone? I'm not talking about that. What I do and who I do. Don't worry about what I'm doing and who I'm doing it with, champ. You're sick. You should be really focusing on what I'm saying. why are you still supporting? I should ask you, have you ever invited a 14-year-old to your house, trash bait, and gave them some wine? Have you done that, trash bait? I'm pretty sure you thought about doing it at least. Join me, ladies and gentlemen, in sending that fake demon that got up here, calling himself Jesus Christ. Join me in sending that demon straight to hell.
Silence.
Wow. I mean, the mental gymnastics that the demon just did on my show. I've done at least an hour and a half on just evidence, court records, FBI statements, emails about his dear leader. And the only thing Trash Bait could get in the box and ask me, well, Zeus, what were you doing with your male member? That's what you got. That's what's on your mind, you sick, twisted knucklehead, you knuckle dragger W, Zeus. Trash Bait, have you ever, and this is a question, have you ever invited 14-year-olds to your house and gave them wine? That's all I need for you to answer, Trash Bait. You could put the answer in the comment section. I don't know why they want to come on my show and try to deflect and distract. I'm not here to talk about Big Zeus, because I could do that all day. I'm here to help some folks who are in a cult get out of the cult. Good morning. Hi, Jim.
Good morning. How are
Good
you?
morning. I'm doing okay. How about you?
I don't know. I'm trying to figure out how we equate this. Like, have you ever taken antibiotics?
Yes, I have.
So is that the same as illicit street drugs?
No. It
Right.
better not be.
Yeah. Have you ever bought a car?
I sure have.
Is that the same as stealing a car?
Absolutely not, man.
Right. So this is the thing that is amazing about MAGA type mentality, is the ability to move the goalposts for every crime committed by this administration.
Yeah.
To call yourself patriots or America First mentality, which, by the way, isn't even an American ideology. It's a German ideology that literally says we're going to shut it down so that only certain people in America get to have access to good things, good food, travel, etc. You know, and it's so interesting to me how they will conflate. I mean, I don't know about you, Zeus, but I have had sex because I birthed 2 children. So let me tell all the MAGA men up here, I've done the deed. I have done the deed multiple times very well. Woo! With adult men, as an adult woman. And this idea that you get to come up into this space and ask somebody, have you watched porn in any time frame in your life, is not the same and will never be the same, cannot be equated to harming children. Full stop.
Full stop. Yeah.
A man having an affair on his wife is not the same as a man preying on children. Full stop. And if you need me to come into a live and tell you that, you are broken beyond repair.
Thank
There
you,
is
Jim.
nothing going to help you. This is not about sex, first of all. This is about power. This is about control. This is about predatory behavior, not only on children, but on the American people right now. This is about predatory behavior, and you are supporting the predators and thieves that are in this administration. Full stop. Like, there is no conversation to be had at this point with you people any longer, and any person wasting their breath on you at this point beyond this moment is just a waste of time, because we cannot fix you. Every single one of you needs to crawl back into the dark hole you come from and fucking just disappear. Sorry, Mama Zeus.
W, Jim. I don't know why.
I can no longer stomach any person, male or female, especially female, who will come into these spaces and make excuses for predatory men. 90% of all crimes committed against women and children in this country are committed by men. And until you recognize that you are broken beyond repair and that we no longer can hold safe spaces for you, we will no longer be tolerant. We will no longer be accepting. We will no longer protect you. That this is going to come to a cataclysmic explosion at some point, and you will not fare well. I will tell you that. That girl dads will figure it out, and moms across this country will figure it out. Our allies have already figured it out. You are done. You will not be welcome in other countries. Your MAGA hats, your red colors, your asinine quotes, they will all be in the garbage. They will all be set ablaze. And no name that you try to come up with and try to use to deflect from your absolute hypocrisy and degradation of your soul, Jesus Christ, please. Jesus Christ would literally give up his resurrection to make sure people like you never exist again. That's the difference between Jesus Christ and you.
Tell him. I appreciate you, honestly, because you can go and say things I can't as the host, but I just got to say, Jim, ladies and gentlemen.
I literally cannot understand what we're witnessing in this country, where grown men think it is appropriate to conflate actual... Let me just tell you something. I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to make a confession. You know what, Zeus? Sex is good.
Oh.
Sex is fun. Oh. Sex feels good. Sex is wonderful. Sex with a consenting adult is appropriate.
Mm-hmm.
This is the difference with the men that show up on your panel and the women that excuse the behavior, is they don't seem to comprehend that sex with consenting adults is acceptable behavior in human form, in animal kingdoms, all over the world to populate the world. And that is why I'm so confused by the Christian mentality that tries to denigrate every person or every type of otherism that they try to do, while they're literally covering up for the actual predators and people that are in power, whether it's your pastors, your police officers, your presidents, whoever, politicians, all of them start with a P. Isn't that ironic?
Predators, and perverts. Yeah, you're right. Jim, that's clever. And that previous guest, he should change his name and start it with a P too, then, because it's sick. And you highlighted everything that's going on right now. They're asking the wrong questions. They should be asking, how did they allow themselves to be manipulated into supporting somebody like Donald Trump? That's the only question that they should be asking themselves, because I firmly believe this, Jen. They either are in on it, they're in on it, right?
Exactly.
Bingo.
They are him.
Yeah.
They are him. He literally speaks to the worst of what is within them. The hate, the degradation, the fear, the racism, the misogyny, the pain, because they can never rise to a better level of consciousness. They're literally bottom feeders. They are literally the amoebas that eat the swamp scum that they talk about. You know, drain the swamp. They're literally the amoebas, the one-celled amoebas that are eating the scum that is the swamp.
Yeah.
Because they can't rise above it. No. All they do is try to harm and prey on people. And this is what's happened in our country. And it's our fault. The American people who allowed this to happen, the American people who literally didn't make education and decency and humanity and civil rights the number one factor. The people that come up here and they'll be like, you know, I just don't like to talk about politics. Politics touches every aspect of your life, everything you do, from the clothes you wear to the food you eat, to the car you drive, to the air you breathe. Every single thing we do has a political legislation that backs it. And if you haven't figured that out at this point in our country, there is something wrong with you. Your vote does matter. The people you choose matter, who create the laws of our country, who literally will uphold the Constitution of the United States and honor the oath that they took to protect against enemies, foreign and domestic. And every single person in that Congress who has allowed this to happen has forgotten, not just forgotten, but abdicated their co-equal branch of power to go against this son of a...
You got it. You cooked them, Jim. You cooked them. And I'm so appreciative that you came up. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give the beautiful Jim a huge round. Because she doesn't have to do this, but she like I say to people, don't worry about whether you're getting past Big Zeus, because trust me, they're listening. Jim is listening. What? Ange, Takesha, Kabir, every single one of us are listening. And if you get up here and you tear your draws, I promise you it'll be the worst feeling you've ever felt. All right, but listen, Jim.
Anyway, I wanted to come up because
Yes.
yesterday was a rough day for me and I didn't do too much socializing on TikTok, and I wanted to come up just to say happy birthday, Kabira. I felt really bad that I missed your get together yesterday.
Yeah.
I love you so much.
Caught her again.
I hope that your day was blessed. And that's the more important thing, is if I could ask everybody in here to start showing each other kindness, to start looking at your neighbors as yourself. If there's some neighbor that's near you that's lonely, elderly, drop off a plant, drop off a meal, send a Christmas card, do something kind. If somebody, is struggling with a stroller or a shopping cart or anything, just be kind. Start noticing your surroundings. Say hello, give a smile. I'm not asking you to spend a lot of money, but if there's a food bank out there that needs supplies, call your local food bank, see if you can make a donation. Even if it's $20, you could feed a couple of people on $20 at a food bank, you guys. Your donations matter. So for this Christmas, if you can make a donation to St. Jude or support some type of positive growth to show kindness to your fellow man, please do so. I love you. I thank you, and I hope you all have a happy holiday if I don't see you soon. You, my friend, are one of my faves. I adore you. Thanks for checking in on me almost daily. I love you so much.
All right. No, I love you too. Ladies and gentlemen, that's my good friend, the beautiful Jim. No lies dejected. Oh, wow. What we want to do now, honestly, is try to get this country to continue to move forward, ladies and gentlemen. And it's real simple. If you come up here, especially if you're MAGA, none of us want to hear any more pivoting or deflecting. We're done with that. We are literally watching the Trump administration cover up a ring of P3 that you all went through hell and hot water to try to get released. Now you don't want us to talk about it. No, we're only talking about the E-files. All right, because everything else you want to talk about, we all can look at the numbers ourselves and see that Donald Trump is not successfully doing anything in the White House. There's nothing he's doing that he's successful at except for ruining the country. All right, it's a huge W, Zeus. Thank you all. All right, let's see. Let's see. Who do we have next, ladies and gentlemen? Who do we have next? All right, because there's so many amazing people out here that I don't interact with. All right, seriously. If you accidentally sent me a guest request, ladies and gentlemen, please double check, and if you can, hop on out. All right, because you might have been tapping and things like that. And that's when things get a little out of control. All right, seriously. Who do we got next? All right, yeah. All right, there you go. Yeah, and you can put the W Zeus's in the chat. All right, because that's what's necessary to keep the show going. All right, ladies and gentlemen, moving it along. All right, I'm just trying to do a little mix and match. All right. Let's see. Who do we have? All right, who do we have? I don't know who this is. All right, oops. Good morning. Patrick.
Hey, Zeus.
What's going on?
I'm driving right now, so.
Oh, I don't want you to do anything with the driving, bro. But thank you so much, W's. I think you're a good person. All right. Yeah, you gotta be parked. Sheriff of Good Morning. A lot of noise in the background. Can't have that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's move it along. Let's see. Who do we have next, ladies and gentlemen? Edmund, good morning. Edmund, good morning. This is sad. I don't know. Do people accidentally send me guest requests? Let's see. Alrighty then. All right. Let me bring up my sister Wakanda. Good morning, Wakanda. I think she's here. All right. We're bringing up random people. I mean, what does that mean? Alter ego. What does that mean? No, Admir. Welcome. Good morning, Admir.
Good morning, Zeus. How you doing, man?
Outside of, the status quo, so to speak, I'm doing all right. How about you?
Been better, Been better, but it will get better.
Yeah, well, I try to be an optimistic person, to be honest with you, and hopefully, if we're talking about what's going on in the United States, we'll start seeing a lot more accountability. But what do you got? Because I don't get to interact with you, especially on the show. But when I do, we often have different ways of looking at things. What brings you to the show this morning? Did I get something wrong?
Why is it always got to be that you did something wrong, man? I guess I have just one question. The reason why I came up, man. I'm kind of tired of talking over politics anymore.
Oh.
But if you can just educate me, what is your party, the Democratic Party, gonna run on in 2028? What is your platform going to be in 2028?
That's a bit of a change in what I was doing, but I honestly, Admir, I think I don't want to put the cart before the horse. I think right now we have a code red in the United States of America, and I could probably list things like accountability and affordability as things that I would say we should. But we're really in a situation now where we might not even have a country because of the amount of corruption going on in the White House. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And so I guess.
So that's why I would say, but my concern with you is this: you voted for Donald Trump, correct?
Yes, sir. I did.
Why? When you lived through his first term, maybe you can give me the clarity, because to me, there's really only one acceptable answer for why a person that's basically a well-to-do person would allow themselves to vote for Donald Trump again after they knew everything they knew about him during his first term. Why?
So I didn't get into politics till 2022, late 2022. I didn't start because it was just never an interest of mine. And to be honest with you, I didn't get into politics until I got onto TikTok. Until this day, I have an issue with my younger son because he created my damn TikTok thing, and that's how I started. And I voted for Trump on specific two things.
What's that?
It is immigration and Ukraine war, and neither one I got. That's why I basically said, you know what, I'm done. I didn't vote for him. I didn't vote for him on economy and all of that stuff. That wasn't.
So with the immigration, what did you want Donald Trump to do?
I wanted him to get the system in its entirety because the system is flawed and has too many loopholes that a lot of people take advantage. Whether it's through asylum, through refugee, through the visas.
Yeah.
There's a lot of loopholes that are being taken advantage, whether you are Republican or Democrat. We can all agree on that.
Things always can get better. I'll say, there's always room for improvement with immigration.
Sure.
And then you said Ukraine. What did you want him to do with Ukraine?
Keep his word.
And he didn't do those things.
No, because he said on day one, I'll end the war. And before I get into the office, I'll end the war. Neither one I got.
And what compelled you to believe that Donald Trump would keep his word, especially if you lived through his first term? I'm a little confused. And the reason, and Admir, I'll be honest with you. The correct answer to all of my questions is you allowed Donald Trump to manipulate you and trick you. That's the correct and acceptable answer.
So the problem with your argument is that would be an assumption that I was into politics and all of that.
You were.
I wasn't.
Yeah, because Jim just highlighted something very important. Politics touches every aspect of your life. You're in the game whether you're aware of it or not. And it's up to you as a citizen of the country, right? To pay attention to your environment and kind of learn how to adapt and survive. We all have that burden as citizens of the country. And if you advocate those duties, that's not an excuse. You know, they say ignorance of the law is no excuse. Like, for instance, you can't go into a courtroom and say, well, I didn't know I was breaking the law, Your Honor. No, they're going to still convict you if you broke the law.
But hold on, but
Right?
that would then your argument is null and void because I couldn't have even done anything because I wasn't a citizen in his first term. I just became a citizen in 2024. So I couldn't, even if I wanted to
No.
be
Well, how long
into
have you lived
politics.
here? That's a good cover up. That's a good cover. How long have you been on the United States soil?
1993. I was 13 when I came over.
Okay, so you've been here and you've benefited as a non-citizen from a lot of things Democrats have done, maybe things Republicans have done. So you've been here long enough to learn what's happening in the country.
Sure, you can say that. Yeah, you can say that. That's fine.
And I'll go back to what I was saying because this is honestly, Admir, the thing that doesn't make sense to me. Do you run a business?
I do. A very successful one.
And how do you measure success?
My motto is my employees. If they're happy, that's my success.
No, you can't measure happiness.
Yeah, I can.
No, you can't.
Because I can because my turnaround ratio is at 97%.
No, you mean your turnover ratio? Okay,
yeah,
great. That's a percentage, but a business, if it doesn't make money, is going to fail, and that has really, honestly, not much to do with happiness. That's how you measure success, right?
Would you believe me that I made more money?
Yeah, are you able to grow the business and pay your employees and meet your
Yes.
obligations and things like that with your lenders?
Yes.
So that's to me how you. So that's a kind of a way I'm looking at this. And so when I ask you that question, you know what success looks like. For me, I don't understand how you lived and you saw Donald Trump get impeached twice. You saw the bodies being counted on national news during C-19, and you saw him destroy the country with January 6th, never engaged in a peaceful transfer of power.
So you've heard me talk about that 100 times, and I'll stay 10 toes down on it.
You jumped ahead. How did you block all of that out and go?
Because I didn't vote for the man on his morals. I voted for the man on politics. And a week into it, I realized that I wasn't going to get it. And that's why I was the first one to say, you know what, fuck Trump.
Okay, but listen, you don't got to say that on the show. But
my bad. I know Mama Zeus is watching. My bad. I apologize.
Thank you. But
I apologize.
And I got to say this. Thank you for opening up these doors about the logic behind, because this is what's underneath the hood, ladies and gentlemen, when you're talking to most Trump voters. If Admir's just brave enough to come up here and say it. He's probably said it. You probably heard him say it before, but I do it on my show because I want to dive deeper into the mind and the psychology of what Admir is saying. And so what Admir has said is you ignored and you blocked all of that out because of what? His morals?
No, I said I didn't worry about his morals. That's not why I vote the man in.
Right. And so what I want to point out to you is, honestly, that's exactly why you voted for him. Because when a person when a person says, I don't look at a person's morals, they're lying. Just like a person who says, I don't see color. Well, you bought a freaking color TV. When you bought your car, you got it in the color you wanted. No, you buy your clothes, you look at color. So I don't fall for that move. I don't fall for it. I could be wrong, Admir, and if I am, I'll apologize. But what you really are saying is, I understood he was immoral at all levels, and I still chose to vote for him because I believed in what he was saying. And the disconnect there, Admir, is how can you expect an immoral person to keep his promises?
Well, that's why.
That's why I'm saying you were tricked, because it doesn't make sense.
You can say that, and I'll say, was I tricked? Sure. If that's what you want to say, that's fine.
Because
I'm not going to argue with you on that.
Okay. No, but yes, you act. Because see, when I asked you why you voted for him, you didn't just come clean and say I was tricked, right? And so you threw out the Ukraine, you threw out immigration as reasons for why you did it. But when you really sit back and listen to it, every Trump voter has to come to that same conclusion. Morals matter, because whatever issue you use to vote for Donald Trump, right? If he's a man of his word, he has to deliver.
And why do you think I turned on Trump as far as why I voted? Why do you think I was the first one? I was the first one to openly say, "Hey, I'm not getting what I voted for. Fuck Trump."
But see, you say the F word. Come on now.
Oh my God,
the thing is this, Admiral. You can say that to try to get yourself a pat on the back, but there's an issue about trust going on when you say that. How can I, as another person in the United States of America, you've seen me and you got up here and you said, I don't want to keep talking about politics. It's too much. I want to talk about all this. That's not how accountability works. Unfortunately, in the world you and I live in, when you make a mistake, sometimes it could take a month or it could a day or two to get it cleared, and other times it could take a decade and centuries. There are a lot of people in this country right now, Admir, that are still being harmed by Donald Trump. Right? Am I right? Am I right? There's a lot of people in America right now still being harmed by Donald Trump.
So, nobody's denying that.
Okay.
But you're holding me accountable as a person.
And you know why?
Yeah, I know why. We've had many of these conversations.
Because you can't advocate. You can't go and slap me in my face and then be like, well, I did that yesterday. I'm a new person today. You can't do that.
But hold on, but I never said that I was a new person. Right. You guys are the ones who's saying that. I let my actions speak louder than words because hold on, Zeus. I'm the only one that has been speaking about Trump on a regular basis.
That's to me, when you say I was the first one to turn on Trump, and what you're trying to say to me is I'm no longer the same person that voted for him. That's kind of what you're saying, right?
Well, yeah, of course.
Okay, so
because I learned a thing of two.
That's why I said the new person thing is you're trying to sell me that you're a new person. You're saying
that's what you're taking it out of. I'm not trying to sell you nothing.
Okay. Well, I'll be
honest. That's what you're inserting.
So now that's the next thing, right? Denial, no ability to take accountability. And so the question is, there's no trust, Admir, right? How could a person like me feel confident that you've learned the lesson? Because if I were to ask you, what is the lesson in all of this in terms of your experience voting for Donald Trump? What is the lesson in this? What would you say?
Educate.
Huh?
Educate yourself?
No. Let me ask it and make it more personal. What did you personally learn as a voter in the United States of America who lived through Donald Trump's first term and turned around and voted for him again only to be let down?
Hold on, not again. I never voted in his first term or his second term.
Okay.
I lived through it, but I never voted because I couldn't.
Okay, fair enough. Let me clear it up then, because you're playing fast and loose. What would you say to a person who lived through Donald Trump's first term and witnessed not a lot of success, but a lot of failure? And if you want me to give you information about those failures, I can, but I think you know, right?
So you what?
So what I would Can we agree the first term in office, Donald Trump was a failure?
I don't know much about it.
You lived it. You were here in the United States.
But it doesn't affect me, and I've said this many times.
Okay, Admir. Okay, so you gotta still you live in the country, bro.
I understand that, but what you
okay? Did Donald Trump
just
get
give me a
impeached?
second.
Did he get impeached twice, Admir?
Yes.
Okay, is he the only president in the United States history to get impeached twice in his first term?
Yes.
Is that success or failure?
In my eyes, that's a failure.
Okay.
But that might not be in somebody else's eyes.
I'm asking it about you, Admir. And again,
sure.
I don't. Okay, so
why don't you just ask me the obvious questions? Why don't you just ask me what I'm going to do in 26 and 28? Because that is going to have an effect.
Admir, how can two walk together unless they're in agreement, right?
Because your agreement doesn't, because you and I have different views.
No, because one thing I've learned from here in this conversation is morals matter. Right now, I'm challenging you and your belief system because I'm concerned about your morals. So
what's my belief system? What's my belief system, Zeus?
Your belief system is you don't have to be accountable for what you do. As long as you say you don't know what's going on, you think that's a
No,
way
that's
out.
not.
That's how I
You're
see
asking
it.
me. You were asking me something that I wasn't even in the politics then. You're trying to put that something on because you were. I wasn't in the politics. I told you this many times. The politics do not affect me personally on my level. They do not.
And can I stop you there?
Sure.
And just call that out. That's a lie. Politics affects everybody.
How? How? Tell me how Trump or Biden have affected me during their presidency. Go ahead, tell me.
Depending on it, right? So a policy, if implemented, could have devastating consequences. Right now,
Which
for instance,
one?
a lot of people right now may be losing health insurance. Have
No,
you
no,
heard
no,
of
no.
that?
Don't tell me. Don't tell me. A lot of people. I asked you, me specifically. That's what we're talking about because you're talking specifically to me. Tell me how.
Do you drive?
Sure. Yeah,
Okay,
absolutely.
So there's a federal agency called the Department of Transportation. You heard of them?
Yes, of course. I
Okay.
deal with them on a daily basis.
Okay, so there's policies there. For instance, if you talk about the infrastructure package, there's projects there allocated to building roads for people all over the country. You use roads, correct, Admir?
Yeah, and I pay, and I pay
hold
them.
Hold on. You fly on airplanes, right?
Of course.
Okay, so the narrative that you're selling yourself, which is the president, the commander in chief, who also has an active role in implementing and promoting policies, then other policies affect you. That's a lie. That's a lie, Admir. That's a lie. That's a lie. Every president.
You can say that's a lie, but you can say that.
Every president, especially if they got control over Congress like Donald Trump, they have the ability to enact policies that directly impact you. Now, I don't know your life. I haven't ran the white glove test to live and see exactly what you do throughout your day. But I can say this. There are actively folks right now being detained by ICE. American
So now you're
citizens,
pivoting.
hold on.
So now you're
I'm not-
pivoting.
yeah, okay, call it that. They are being negatively harmed by Donald Trump.
So why can't we just stick on me? Why do you gotta? We can go back to that.
I've already done you. I've already
No, you
said
haven't because you didn't tell me how it impacts
I just
me.
told you use
No,
roads.
you don't. I pay for those roads monthly, and I pay them through quarterly through the NAFTA and through the IFTA. Do you know what that is, Zeus? Do you know what IFTA is?
No.
Do you know what IFTA is?
What
so
is
it's called International Fuel Tax Agreement. I pay
Okay.
for that every month.
Okay.
You don't, right?
Okay,
You don't.
let me
I
ask-
do.
Let me ask you this. Where were you at before you came to the United States?
My country doesn't exist anymore, but former Yugoslavia.
Okay. So how were roads here before you? This is
How
an
were
easy
ro-
one.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how
Because
they
I'm
were
trying to
here.
help you understand. You haven't done anything to help build this country.
Okay.
So, and you haven't paid more than me. I grew up here. I lived here. I've paid probably way more than you have.
But hold on, but I can guarantee you that I pay more in taxes than you have in the last 10 years.
No, you can't.
I guarantee you that. We can put that up.
No, you
Yeah.
can't. No,
I can
because-
guarantee you.
No, Admir. And so what I want to get back
I can
to is-
guarantee you that I pay more taxes than you do.
And guess what, Admir? I'll say this. Even if you did, you should. You're not from here. You should.
What difference does that make?
Well, why should you be allowed to come here and take advantage of all the things we Americans have built and then act like you're better than us? That doesn't make any sense, all right? Knock it off.
Who's better than you? Who says that I'm better than you?
You're acting like you are, and I can
No,
tell. But-
no, because you're saying saying
no.
on a personal
You
level
should
it affects me, doesn't it?
No. And Admir, I don't want to keep going over this. I'm going to land and I'm going to say this. Anyone in the United States of America, they're being impacted by policies coming out of the federal government in one way or another. All right? Maybe you don't
But that's
know
not what your original claim was. We were talking about me specifically. I asked you, how does it impact me? Now you're pivoting to everybody else.
Admir.
So if you want to say that I'm selfish, that's fine. Just say, Admir, you're selfish.
Let me say what I need to say. If you use roads in the United States of America, and if you fly on airplanes, and Admir admitted he does those things, then guess what? You're impacted by policies coming out of the White House, the federal government, in one way or another. If you're getting health insurance, you could be directly impacted, all right? Especially right now, there's people who are on the verge of losing their health insurance. I just played a clip for it. You have businesses that are shutting down all over America because of Donald Trump's tariffs. In some cases, they're saying they're illegal. You can be impacted. Admir is buying groceries right now. He's buying products, and he still doesn't want to acknowledge that Donald Trump's tariffs are impacting him. They're impacting all of us. Now, Admir, you could keep trying to interrupt me and think that's the whole way of trying to avoid being held accountable. but it's not going to work because my mind is already made up. You're not giving me any information. So are you agreeing that Donald Trump's tariffs impact you?
No, they don't.
Okay.
Me personally, no, they don't. Tell me how. Well, that's the problem with your argument is you're trying to lump me with everybody else. I'm telling you, talk about me
What
personally.
business, what industry are you in?
Trucking. I own a trucking company.
And what kind of products do you use?
I haul anywhere from oversized trusses to agricultural to just about anything.
Yeah. So you don't think the tariffs are affecting agriculture?
They might be affecting them, but they don't affect my rates.
okay. I'm here. I gotta say this.
Well, I'm just saying you don't like the facts because they don't fit your narrative, Zeus.
Admir. This is the mentality that I'm glad you shared with me this morning. And honestly, bro, it's exhausting to even try to deal with and figure out because I can see how a person like you went and voted for Donald Trump again, right? And what I'm
What do
saying
you mean?
is,
Keep talking. I only voted for him once.
no, hold
Stop
on.
Stop lying.
Hold on.
But you just lied, so stop lying.
I admit I don't want to be, trying to regulate you. The reason I say again is simply because you're right. You only voted for him once, but you lived through his first term and you allowed Donald Trump to trick you into believing that he was going to deliver on the promises that he made to you. Only in 2025, not even a full 4 years into this man's term, you tapped out. You tapped out. It's not, don't jump off the Trump train now, Admir. The game's just getting started. And then you're trying to say, well, it doesn't fit Zeus's narrative, so I'm fine. Admir, newsflash, bro. All the tricks you're trying to use to try to get away and distract, they're not working with me. All right? You're not going to convince me. You're not going to convince me that the government doesn't impact you, a person who immigrated into the United States of America and is paying taxes, that is sitting around here watching the industries that Donald Trump's tariffs are hitting just get totally obliterated and devastated. All right. You're not going to convince me that that's not having an impact on you. You're not going to convince me that, for instance, and I know what you did. You got up here to try to distract me from Donald Trump's relationship with Jeffrey Epstein, right? That's what this was all about. You're not going to convince me that all of a sudden you have a problem with an immoral person, Donald Trump, lying to you when you know good and doggone well this man's track record reeks of immoral conduct, from cheating on all of his wives, women accusing him in the essay. You knew he was indicted for multiple crimes. You know he's friends with Epstein. And now you want to get up here and try to save face with Big Zeus, Admir. It's a disgrace, honestly.
Zeus, you and I have been going through this many times.
I know, but listen, it's a disgrace. And you know what? I got to say this. You're a prime candidate for hell, bro. It's with great pleasure that I do it.
So just before I go, I just have, because you mentioned something earlier, and I just want to get clarification.
Do you think no, I just got to ask you, do you believe Donald Trump did something nefarious with these underage girls based on the information that's out? That's the question.
Based on information that we have right now, no.
Yeah. You don't think so? Would you invite a 14?
No. You
would
asked
you invite
me
a 14? Hold on, Admir. Would you invite a 14-year-old girl to your house to drink wine?
Absolutely not.
Oh, cut it out, Admir. Knock it off, Admir, please. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Admir. He's making things up as he goes, ladies. You just can't deal with it. Sorry, Admir, you failed the test. He lied right there. He'd invite the 14-year-old, ladies and gentlemen, and he knows it because all that distraction from the Epstein files is diabolical. Ladies and gentlemen, join me in sending the previous guest, Admir, who really tried his best to trick Big Zeus, and it didn't work because he knows what he did is wrong. Join me in sending Admir straight to hell.
Silence!
I mean,
you matter, Damon.
That's a huge W, Zeus. And I'll say this, bear with me as I continue to explore the MAGA psychosis. That's a person that's still in the cult, but doesn't want to admit it. Admir, and I've ran into him, and he'll say things sometimes, you'll say, oh man, this guy, he really seems like he's turned a new leaf. But make no mistake, ladies and gentlemen, all you have to do is ask him about Donald Trump's relationship with Jeffrey Epstein, and it'll tell you everything about him. for some strange reason, Admir, who he said he immigrated. Don't you say I voted for him twice. No, I'm going to consider you a 2-time. Actually, I'll consider him a 3-time Trump voter. He's a triple Trumper, in my opinion, because he acts just like them. How did you live? How did you live through Donald Trump mismanaging C-19? How did you live through the insurrection on January 6th that he single-handedly orchestrated with Rudy Giuliani? How did you live through the impeachments? And he wants to sell me, oh, well, Zeus, oh, I'm not impacted by any of the policies that the president implements. I'm one of the rare, I'm a unicorn in essence, all right? Okay, Admir, please. I've heard a lot of lies, but that has to be the most disrespectful lie I've ever heard on my show. And so, Admir, I'll say this, champ. No one on this show, anyone with a brain, none of us believe you. None of us believe you. There's a huge debt of gratitude you owe to the Democrats. You shouldn't be fixing your mouth to ask us what we're going to be offering in 2028. You should be on your knees, begging us for mercy. Because if I were a president, and you see I got the album 1600 Pennsylvania coming out, I would find people like Admir. You see how Donald Trump is weaponizing ICE? If I were president, I'd go after the people who did exactly what Admir did. Oh, you voted for Donald Trump, but you're an immigrant? And now you're talking about Donald Trump? You didn't even do the full 4 quarters? I call my Department of Homeland Security person. Get Admir out of the country. I don't care how much he's paid in taxes. He's no good. He's no good. He has no honor. He don't get it. That's what I would do, Admir. You're lucky I'm not the president. You should be praying that the next president, Admir, a Democrat, hopefully, they don't deport you. Because the gloves are off at this point. Why should a president in the United States of America allow a person who immigrated into the country and voted for Donald Trump? Why should he allow him to stay in the United States of America? You turn on Trump, you'll turn on them. See how that works, Admir? A lot of you Trump voters think y'all could play these Jedi mind tricks on people in the United States and then you could get over. Maybe that's how you run your business, but I'll be the first one to tell you, I'm a very, very patient person. I'll let you dig yourself a ditch and you'll... What are you doing? I'm digging a ditch. This is how I'm digging a ditch. I'm digging... Who are you putting in there? I'm trying to put Zeus in there. And then you know what happens? They keep digging and digging and they slip, fall, and they end up in a ditch. Somebody help me. How did I end up here? Yeah, you fell in the own ditch. It's easy to do. Yo, honestly, just let MAGA talk. All right. They end up self-destroying themselves all the time. And you got proof of it with Donald Trump. Donald Trump talks the most. And it's his words that has him in this situation with Jeffrey Epstein. There's no escaping it, champ. W. Zeus. Jesus Christ, ladies and gentlemen. All right, ladies and gentlemen, what a show. What a show. Oh my God. Yeah. I mean, they could send another demon up to the show. I don't mind actually helping them out. We're 2, 3, 4 down. Wow, what a hilarious. Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness, ladies and gentlemen. Oh my goodness. Who is this? Nico Charles. Welcome to the show. Kimmy. You still in the audience crying about the Democrats. What did the Democrats do to you, Kimmy? Kimmy, what have the Democrats done besides try to give you a better quality of life? You know, a lot of the privileges you have, Kimmy, you should be thanking the Democrats. You really should. Oh, you get a 40-hour work week. You got civil rights protections. Women, they don't need their husbands in order to get a credit card. Oh, yeah, you got access to affordable care for your children. Oh, my God, how did the Democrats bless me? And then you turn around and curse out the very folks that have afforded you the opportunities to get on TikTok and just totally bring shame to yourself. Like I said, ladies and gentlemen, I've never, ever been so embarrassed in my life to be a United States of American citizen. One is definitely Donald Trump, but the other thing is it's truly his deranged and incompetent supporters. The most dangerous thing in the United States, and I keep saying it, is an uninformed, poorly educated Trump voter. Like the previous guest. I don't want to mention his name because you know it. We gave you the answers to the test. And you went in there and I let him off nice. I let him off nice. I didn't even bring up Kamala Harris. I didn't even bring up Kamala Harris. I could have brought it up. I could have said, just straight up said, you have a problem with a black woman being the president. That's what it was. W. Zeus. Nico, you've been in my box? Nico. I didn't even know Nico was in my box. Yeah, they have a problem. MAGA has a problem with Kamala Harris. But let me tell you what Kamala, and he says, Zeus, what do you mean, Kamala, you had the answers to the test? Remember when Kamala said this?
In many ways, Donald Trump is an unserious man.
Remember she said this?
But the consequences of putting Donald Trump back in the White House are extremely serious.
You had the answers.
Consider not only the chaos and calamity when he was in office, but also the gravity of what has happened since he lost the last election. Donald Trump tried to throw away your votes. When he failed, he sent an armed mob to the United States Capitol where they assaulted law enforcement officers.
Remember this?
When politicians in his own party begged him to call off the mob and send help, he did the opposite. He fanned the flames. And now, for an entirely different set of crimes, he was found guilty of fraud by a jury of everyday Americans and separately found liable for committing sexual abuse. And consider what he intends to do if we give him power again. Consider his explicit intent to set free violent extremists who assaulted those law enforcement officers at the Capitol. His explicit intent to jail journalists, political opponents, and anyone he sees as the enemy. His explicit intent to deploy our active duty military against our own citizens. Consider
she told you
the power he will have, especially after the United States Supreme Court just ruled that he would be immune from criminal prosecution.
You hear this?
Just imagine Donald Trump with no guardrails.
There you go. So that's why I say you had the answers to the test, MAGA. I don't want to hear none of you crying and, oh, I don't support Trump anymore. No, you're still in the first quarter. Get back on that Trump train. Be a man. Be a woman. Stay on that Trump train. Don't be telling me, oh, it's too much suffering, it's too much pain. No, get it back on it with your so-called smart and intelligent selves. Let's see, who do we got next? Let's see. Who do I got next? Oh my goodness. Good morning, Shay. How are you? Shay, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Sorry. Sorry, my son was like, Mom. I was like, hold on, I'm on a live.
Mom.
Hey, all right, Alexander. How are you guys?
Hello. Your mom's a very important person, sir. Please, thank you for loaning her to us.
Oh, did you hear that, Alex? Did you hear that? Isn't that sweet?
Yeah, it's very sweet. I'm a sweet person,
Zeus,
to be
Zeus
honest with
said
you.
I'm a very important person.
I'm a sweet person. Yeah, I'm a very sweet person. Thank you. Shay W's in the
Well,
chat.
thank you. It's
All right.
it's the holidays. Yes, I know. I love you guys. Man, have you been looking at this stuff that's been released? You know, they released another 30,000
Yeah.
pages, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But did you see that they released it with a disclaimer?
The DOJ, they put out a disclaimer, right, saying that something about it's not been verified. The data, the information hasn't been verified, right?
Well, they say that some of these documents contain untrue and sensationalist claims made against President Trump that were submitted to the FBI right before the 2020 election. You see what they're doing? They're framing it as this was a setup, right? As they always do, right?
Right.
To be clear, the claims are unfounded and false, and if they had a shred of credibility, here's the line that Mag always runs with, they certainly would have been weaponized against Donald J. Trump already.
Marissa. Thank you. Thank
that
you.
was cute, Marissa.
That was beautiful. All right.
Yeah. So,
wow.
Yeah, that was awesome. But yeah, so I'm sitting here going, so they signed, right? President Trump signed the law to release all of the e-files. He signed it. He agreed to it, right? No redactions except for victims' faces and names, right? Now they're pea-footing around just to we'll release a little bit, and they're all redactions. And they realize, okay, now we're going to get impeached, or we're going to get, all this stuff. So then I was like, okay, we'll release some more. But again, they're sending out the flag saying, yeah, there's a lot of incriminating evidence in here, but it's not really true. And if it was true, they should have, they would have used this against Trump in the 2020 election. And that, if you notice, that's what MAGA always says. Why didn't Biden release it?
And when they say that, you just got to short circuit their brain cells and say, did you believe Biden when he indicted Donald Trump? Did they believe any of the indictments?
No, the 4 indictments, they called it a witch hunt, right?
Yeah. So they wouldn't have believed it. They got, like I said, the best thing right now is for Donald Trump to be the president of the United States while all the information about who he really is comes out. Because there's nowhere to run right now, MAGA. Y'all got to own this.
No,
and they will own it. They will own it.
Well, and here's the key thing, and I agree with Kamala Harris, and she said this, because, they're asking her, why didn't y'all release any of this, right? Mm-hmm. And she said, here's the thing, for years in the presidency, the DOJ operates separately of the president. And we upheld those standards. You hire in your attorney general, right? And you say, okay, do your thing. And they operate separately. So in no way was Biden involved in any of the deal. There's no evidence that he was ever involved in all the 4 indictments and any of that. That was stuff that he let his DOJ run with. If his DOJ wanted to release, whether they could or could not, due to the appeals of Ghislaine Maxwell at the time.
Yep.
And I know there are people running around this app saying, it was Ghislaine Maxwell, not Jeffrey Epstein, so they didn't have da-da-da-da-da. No, Ghislaine Maxwell, all the evidence in her trial also said what was going on with Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein files had all this stuff on Ghislaine Maxwell. So they're tied. They worked in tandem with each other to traffic these girls.
Thank you, Shay.
The appeals does have a lot to do with Ghislaine Maxwell's trial, and any of the evidence and any of these letters and pictures and toys and condoms and all the stuff
well, not that.
So far, she knew about. She knew about the party. So all of the evidence, that's why they absolutely said the DOJ in New York did not want any of these files released, or we're not going to release any of these files until her appellate process was over. And that is a fact. On top of it, the Biden administration and their DOJ operated separately no matter what.
Yeah.
So they were not going to tell them to release files. Biden never said he would release files, unlike Trump, who said he ran on transparency. And that if it needed to be released, he would.
Yeah.
So, and look what Bill Clinton has done. He has released a statement, right?
Yep. And what did Bill Clinton say, for those in the back who continue to act like they got something with Bill? Because if Bill is in the files, Bill's got to go. Simple.
No, 100%. Throw him under the jail.
Lock him up. Don't even care.
Yeah, don't care. He hasn't been in office in 25 years.
Yeah. Isn't that funny? They'll go back 25 years.
Yeah.
But they can't live in 2025. That's crazy. That's crazy, man. Y'all got your 25s wrong. Wow.
Well, exactly. And they said, hey, and he said, listen, there's stuff in there. Release it all. Release it all.
Yeah.
We need to know who was in this. He knows he's got pictures with Jeffrey, as everyone knows. And that, it's one thing that Donald Trump hasn't lied about. He had a lot of friends. He was a very influential guy. He had a lot of money. He was very tied into politics and donating to politics, and where the wealthy hang around each other and they get away with stuff, right? And so, yes, there's going to be a lot of pictures. Doesn't mean just because you're pictured with Epstein that you've done anything to the girls. What we want to see is like that. Did you see that note that that Jeffrey Epstein wrote to Larry Nassar?
Yep.
Did you see that? I'm sorry, I missed the beginning of your monologue.
And he acknowledged that Donald Trump, we talked about that. We talked about the limo driver.
Yes.
And so when I have people, like the previous guest, it really disturbs me because I didn't think that they would stoop to that level. You don't think Donald Trump is a sick person yet?
That's the thing, is that's why they released that disclaimer. All of this is sensationalized because they know this stuff is like, okay, so you got Jeffrey Epstein to Larry Nassar. And if y'all don't know who Larry Nassar is, that's the Olympic gymnastics coach that has been sent to prison for hundreds of years because of his essaying of gymnasts, right? So this guy, Epstein writes to this guy that Trump loves to diddle women and grab women and young women in this postcard / letter to Larry Nassar. I mean, this stuff isn't being made up.
Nope. But Shay, they think that all the survivors and the victims, there's been this coordinated effort to get Donald Trump dating back to the 90s. And every year they threw something on the wall to link Trump to Epstein. And they believe that where we're at right now is we're on the verge of Donald Trump exposing this. Mm-hmm. That's where their minds, and they can't see that the likelihood of that is down near zero. And that at the end of the day, Donald Trump is in these files doing these things because guess what? He was around Epstein for 15 years.
Absolutely.
They can't see it.
Oh my God. There's another document in here where a woman said that, and you're right, these are children. Okay, coach, I hear, I see. Stop saying women, they're children. You're right. Thank you. These underage girls.
Well, I don't. Yeah, I get a little. Well, yeah, I get a little queasy on TikTok, though, ladies and gentlemen.
I know.
Sometimes we got to tweak the way we talk because if you say certain, I'm not saying you're wrong or anything, but I just get a little queasy saying it like that.
I know that's why I do say.
But yeah, I try to say survivors. I try to say survivors or victims, to be honest with you, because I don't want to go.
But we
get
do
the
need
algorithm going.
We do need to remind everyone. These were not adults.
That's the point. Now maybe maybe they were adults in the photos, right?
Yes.
But what I want to make sure folks keep in mind, and again, I'm not in the shoes of these victims and survivors. What I want to keep in mind is that we don't know when the actual relationship may have started. And that's something to also keep in mind when you're looking at the pictures, right? The pictures could have happened, 4 or 5 years after things started. So, yeah.
I mean, there's this, and then also when they redacted stuff, they didn't redact it correctly. You can unredact it. I saw that Brian Krasenstein covered that.
Yeah.
I was like, are you serious? Because if you take this, it'll unredact. So they don't even know how to redact right. So that's crazy. Yeah, so we're getting a lot more information out of the first batch. But yeah, this young girl claims he raped me. Donald J. Trump had raped her along with Jeffrey Epstein. She was found with her head, missing. And there was no way it was a schmuicide.
Yeah.
So this is the nasty stuff that's coming out. That's why they sent out the disclaimer.
Yeah.
So if you're falling for it, Admir, and many of you that just still want to say, well, what are the Democrats running on?
Don't even worry about what we're doing.
Don't worry about us. One thing Well, one thing we didn't do and would never do is vote for all the stuff on Trump. And admin, you got to stop using it as an excuse. Jim covered that. You cannot use an excuse. I was not in politics. I didn't pay attention. Well, that says a lot about you. You've been in this country since you were 13, and so you got your education, right? You got to be a fairly smart man because you're running a successful business, right? So you can't sit here. Well, I mean, hey, you can't sit here and say, are you just saying you're dumb and you had your head up your butt the whole time? Is that what you're claiming, Admir? Because I remember we talked to you, we debated with you constantly. It's like, how would you vote for a man that did January 6th?
He knows.
How would you vote for a man that did this? What about this? What about that? How did you believe that he would do anything with Ukraine in the first 24 hours? How did you believe that? That's what I don't get, when it's evidence in his first term that he was kissing up to Putin and praising Putin. So you didn't see any of that? But we told you all of this. Yeah. Every single one of you that voted for Trump, that sat on this app and debated with us the last 5 years. We have shown you this. We have covered this. We have tried to tell you this. Like, this man is a liar. He's a grifter.
Yeah.
So the fact that you thought he was going to do anything decent, but honestly, Admir won't admit it, but he ran on the transgender, people in sports and stuff. He got real upset because he was convinced that this was affecting him.
Wow.
And it was his own daughter and wife that came to him and said, "You've got to stop."
Good.
Yeah.
Good. He knows better.
Yeah. His wife is a very intelligent woman. She's a Democrat.
Wow. W's in the chat. Wow.
Yeah. And yeah, so he gets emotional and he just like flip flops and he doesn't know which way is up till Sunday. And and now he's really anti-Trump. But I don't know. You hang out with a lot of rooms and in a lot of rooms where people are saying a lot of nasty stuff and you don't seem to cartel it or say, "Hey, can we stop?"
Yeah.
So, I don't know, So I don't buy that you didn't understand who this guy was.
I don't either.
Again, I don't. I'll never. And it's not an excuse. It's a bad look if that's your excuse.
Yeah.
I think a lot of you are going to have to, as more and more stuff is coming out, because there's now an avalanche of information coming out. They can't stop it. Otherwise, they're going to be impeached. Otherwise, they're going to be held to, what's the law term? A contempt.
Uh-oh, you got a violation. Uh-oh. Yeah, TikTok is they're doing a lot of things. Oh my God, guess what? Yeah. I don't know what's happening with TikTok, but Shay, I think we burnt this thing down. Go ahead. Thank you. We burned this thing down. Wow. Wow. Okay, well, listen, we're around that point. Let's get it going. Good morning, Takesha. How are you doing, Takesha? Welcome to the show.
Hey, Zeus. I won't be long because I'm not feeling my best.
Okay.
But I just wanted to say that these people know Donald Trump did that, Zeus.
Yeah.
But they're just like a parent whose child was accused of murder, who has the video proof, found a weapon in the child's room, but still in their heart want to believe that their child didn't do that. And that's what's going on, Zeus.
Yeah.
They know he did it. They just don't want to know he did it. But Zeus, they know the truth.
Wow.
And that's
you
all
think
I
so?
got to say.
All right. Wow, Takesha. Yeah, feel better. I don't know what's happening with TikTok. Wow. All right, ladies and gentlemen, well, listen, we're going to get out of here before we get this live taken down. You all deserve a huge round of applause. Seriously. Yeah. One thing we learned today, ladies and gentlemen, is MAGA will make an excuse for just some of the most evil and sickest conduct going on the face of the earth. Seriously. But we're going to continue to hold these demons accountable, ladies and gentlemen. All right. I want to give every single one of you a huge round of applause, because without you, this show wouldn't be what it is. Entertaining, engaging, and very educational. Thank you, Kabira. But on the second note, I got to give one last round of booze and shame. And you know who this goes out to? All the Zeus haters out there. They know exactly who they are. They get on TikTok day in and day out, and they just truly humiliate and embarrass themselves. They're a disgrace to this country. And there's no truth in them. No matter what's going on, they'll always find a way to defend their dear leader and blame Donald Trump. Ladies and gentlemen, join me once again in giving them one last round of, you guessed it, booze and shame. Take care, stay safe out there in those TikTok streets. Do not do anything I wouldn't do. We are out of here.
Yeah. Gotta wait the chain out. Get injected with some power. Pull some strings. Level up like a king.
Have a great rest of your morning.
Kings in the trenches, now we ballin' at the top. Mr. Energy, presidential, watch the odds.
Turn up, let's go. Have a great.
1600 on the throne, out here looking.
No lies detected. Welcome, ladies. 1225, 1600 Pennsylvania Ave. Yes, W's in the chat for heaven. W. Watch the empire grow. Let's go. No lies detected. Yes. Yes. Vision crystal clear. Hey. Master Hicks. W. Lady Balls. Bless you. Thank you so much. We'll be back tomorrow. Level up. You're the best. Reggie, I see you, posted in the Capitol, moving like I own the block. Riz game presidential, got the nation in a lock. Rip celestial, shining brighter than a star. Thank you. Turn your dreams into chandeliers. Epstein lurking, but they folding under all the pressure.
1600, I'm the one flexing, I'm the new successor. The legacy brings
hey, wow, thank you. Woke up in the mansion, views from the east wing. Presidential residence without the polls on the prime. No cap, I'm the vibe, turn the calm. Let's go. Let's go. W and let's go. Thank you for everything you do. Hey, let's go. Rip to baby, yeah, make you wanna dance. All right. Yes, prayers for attacking. Yes, ladies and gentlemen. Oh my gosh. All right. Let's see. Oh my goodness, ladies and gentlemen. I forgot to say that. Yes, please. If you haven't already, Attacking does have a GoFundMe. You could reach out to myself, Ange, Jess, any of them out there. They have the link. Make sure you show our brother some love. All right. And it's very appreciated. All right, ladies and gentlemen, take care and have a great rest of your morning.